So my dear students, today we are going to discuss Wood's Dispatch of 1854. Why this 1854? Can anyone guess? Why was Charles Wood given the duty of
review of education policy?
Yes, actually, we are not clear. Just tell me again, pardon.
In every 20 years.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's Remit, yeah. Is it Remit?
Yes.
Yeah, Remit, you're right. Because actually they had decided that they would review the educational system in every 20 years. So the first Charter Act was published in 1813. And after 20 years, in 1833 or in 1834, Macaulay was assigned the duty for submitting a report, and he submitted his report in 1833. So again, 20 years were over. So Charles Wood came there. Before entering the topic of Wood's dispatch, dispatch means report. So before entering the topic Wood's dispatch, let's look back the circumstances. What were the circumstances? Because we just saw Macaulay's minutes. So can you guess what might be the duty of Charles Wood? Actually, this report was submitted by a person called Charles Wood. So it's known as Wood's Dispatch. Can you guess what might be the duty given to Charles Wood? Ashwadi Yadav. Can you guess Ashwadi?
Yes,
Yeah. See, Macaulay was given the duty of solving the problem of Oriental Occidental controversy. And actually, do you believe that he was able to solve the controversy?
no, sir.
No, he
I think he could.
yeah.
No.
Actually, he was making the situation more worse. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we can guess that there might have been some delay. There might have been some struggles in the case of the development of education during these 20 years. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then can you guess what might be the duty given to Charles Wood?
To increase or to improve the methods of teaching or methods of education.
Okay, to improve the methods of education, to improve the educational system in India. For that, he might have been assigned the duty to solve the problems created by Macaulay. Actually, Macaulay was creating problems. He was not solving the problems, but he was adding more fuel to the burning fire, or he was making the situation more worse. So just look, as it became essential to review the educational system in India, Charles Wood, the then chairman of the Board of Control of the East India Company, was asked to submit a report in 1853. He was assigned the duty in 1853. And he submitted a comprehensive report in 1854. He was assigned the duty in 1853 and he made some comprehensive study. He made some detailed study. He reviewed the aspects of education in India and he submitted a report in 1854. And this report is known as Wood's Dispatch or Wood's Report. And here, when we enter the recommendations given by Charles Wood, we should think about the recommendations given by Macaulay, because Macaulay was insulting the majority of the people in India. He was not able to solve the problems of the Oriental Occidental controversy. So before talking about the recommendations, again, I may tell you that Charles Wood was able to solve the problems to an extent. If I tell so, can any one of you guess the recommendations? Just think about the recommendations given by Macaulay. And I told you that Macaulay was worsening the situation. And Charles Wood came and he submitted a report in 1854. Then I feel that he was able to solve the problems created by Macaulay to an extent. Then can any one of you guess?
He might have solved the controversy.
Yeah.
Orient controversy might have solved it.
Yeah, Oriental Occidental controversy. He might have solved the problem Oriental Occidental controversy. Then again, I may ask, then what might be his recommendation regarding to this one?
Giving importance to both Eastern and English education, indigenous and English education.
Yes, you are right, Jim. Okay, we can see such recommendations. Actually, he was not insulting Indians. He was not showing any sort of dictatorship. Okay, actually, Macaulay was showing some dictatorship because he was telling that the language of the ruling people was English, so the citizens should learn English language, and our culture is more prominent than, or our culture is more superior than the Eastern culture, so people should be following our culture. So such statements prove that he was showing dictatorship. So leave it there. Again, I may ask a question, and this question goes to Faisal. Faisal, what is Magna Carta?
Sorry, sir.
What is Magna Carta?
Magna Carta.
Magna
I
Carta.
don't know,
Magna Carta.
I don't know, sir.
So okay, right, Faisal. Then again, someone else from social science and all.
മനുഷ്യാവകാശങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ച് അമേരിക്കയിലുണ്ടായ മറ്റേ ഒരു സംഭവല്ലേ?
American.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was related to human rights. Okay.
Human rights.
1215
Signed by King John.
Yeah, where?
UK, England.
Yeah, Magna Carta was a treaty or an agreement signed by King John II, I think, yeah?
Yeah, King John.
Yeah, in 1215, the lords or the dukes or some people were demanding something. Then finally there was a discussion and the demands were agreed by the king. Not only agreed by the king, but it was passed as a law in the parliament. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So it was the first example for such a thing, because the demands of the workers were agreed and a law was passed in the parliament. And again, I may tell you, this Charles Wood's dispatch is known as the Magna Carta of Indian education. That means, see, there was a player called Zico for Brazil, and he was known as White Pele. Why? Pele is the legend in football. Then Zico was playing after Pele, and Zico was known as White Pele. What might be the reason? Yes.
Maybe from Europe.
Actually, he's also from Brazil. Zico was of Brazil. But we know that Pele was black colored. Okay.
Yeah, he was white.
Then why White Pele? Maybe he might be playing just like Pele. Okay.
Taylor.
Yeah. He might be playing football just like Pele had been playing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We call some people by calling the name of some other people. There was some player for Romania, George Hagi or George Haji. He was known as Carpathian Maradona because he was playing just like Maradona, a midfielder, playmaker. So here, Charles Wood's dispatch is known as Magna Carta of Indian education. What might be the reason? Yes.
Sir,
might be the-
Magna Carta was the game changer of the in the face of human rights that prevailed in the world.
Yeah. I think this is
And
who is this one?
So Vrinda.
Vrunda, yeah, Vrunda, you're right. Actually, it was a game changer because it created some revolutionary changes in the history of human rights. Right?
Yes, sir.
So Charles Wood's dispatch is known as Magna Carta because, yes,
It changed the view about education in India.
yeah, it might have been created some revolutionary changes in the field of education in India. Right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then one more point is that Magna Carta was the first law for human rights because the king not only discussed the matter with the people, with the workers or with the dukes, but also passed it in the parliament. So can you guess anything else in the case of Charles Wood's dispatch? Yeah. Just guess. Yes.
Might have got a nod from the parliament.
Yeah, that's right. And the first time in India, the report was passed in the parliament. Yeah. So you might be asked some questions like why do we call Charles Wood's dispatch the Magna Carta of Indian education? So you can tell because the recommendations given by Charles Wood were passed in the parliament as a law. And similarly, the recommendations, you will see the recommendations. When you see the recommendations, you will admit this one. It is told that the recommendations given by Charles Wood created some revolutionary changes in the field of education in India. Got the idea? Yeah? Yes? Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So now we may just move to the recommendations. As Remit told, you can see some recommendations which were rejecting the concepts or the recommendations given by Macaulay. The first recommendation was the aim of education in India should be the diffusion of the arts, science, and philosophy of Europe and India. I forgot to type that one. Diffusion of the arts, science, and philosophy of Europe and Indian culture, so that to equip the Office of the English East India Company with efficient people. It should be for diffusion of the arts, science, and philosophy. Okay. It should be the aim of education in India should be the diffusion of the arts, science, and philosophy. Diffusion means a spreading. Actually, he also got the viewpoint that it should be for the diffusion of arts, science, and philosophy of Europe in India. Diffusion means spreading, because then only English East India Company can make its officers efficient. He also admitted that. But the second recommendation is related to the Oriental Occidental controversy. Vernacular or regional language can be medium of instruction at the primary stage of education, while English should be at the higher educational scenario. And this is something revolutionary, because Macaulay was telling that English should be the medium of instruction at all the levels of education, at all the stages of education. And it created some frustration among the native people. It had created some frustrations. So here Charles could recommend that vernacular or regional language can be medium of instruction at primary. I'm sorry. Yeah. So it was something revolutionary. Okay. If people wanted to use Sanskrit or Arabic or Urdu for having education at the beginning, then they could do that. So this is the first recommendation. And English can be used as the medium of education at a higher educational institution, and still we are following that one. Then the third recommendation was, and again this is something new for, it was something new for education in India. Separate department of education should be established at each province under a director of public instruction, who should be assisted by inspectors to schools. And nowadays we are seeing different offices. Okay, we have got some DD, and we have got AO. Yeah, we have got some district educational. Actually, districts and educational districts are different. Okay, we have got Kannur district, but when we think about educational districts, we have got Talipram educational districts, then Kannur educational district, then Talasheri educational district, I think so. And this is a contribution of Charles Wood. He recommended that there should be separate department of education at each province, at each regional places, at each region. And there should be a director. And there should be inspectors who should go to schools, different educational institutions, to check whether the educational institutions are working in the right manner, in the proper manner, to verify. So again, something new in the field of education in India. And then the fourth recommendation, universities should be established at Bombay, now it's Mumbai. Bombay, Calcutta, now it is Kolkata. And Madras, now it is Chennai. During those times, these places were Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. Now it is Mumbai, Kolkata, and Chennai. Universities should be established at Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras, following the model of University of London. University of London was a famous university during those times. Then he recommended that there should be some universities in the metropolitan cities in India, like Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. And these universities should follow the models of the aspects of London University. And again, something else. These universities should have a chancellor, vice chancellor, and members who constitute a senate. Nowadays, we see chancellors, vice chancellors, senate members, syndicate, and such things. And again, these things were a contribution of Charles Wood's Despatch. Because there is decentralization of administration. Because you can make a system more smoother, more accurate, and more effective only through decentralization. Administration should not centralize on a particular person or on a group of people, but it should be decentralized. So these are some signs of decentralization of power, decentralization of administration. So this was the fourth recommendation. Then comes the fifth one. Vocational schools, technical institutions, and colleges should be established at different areas of country. He talked about universities, and again he talked about colleges. There should be colleges at different areas, and there should be vocational schools and technical institutions. Again, something modern, something new, something strange for the educational system in India. I think you have got the point. Then teacher training institutions should be established by following the model of London for giving exclusive training for teachers. And now we have got B.Ed colleges, then teacher training institutions, and these are the contribution of Charles Wood. Actually, Charles Wood introduced this one in India. He thought he was of the opinion that if you have to give quality education to the students, there should be quality teachers. And for creating quality teachers, there should be exclusive, separate training institutions for teachers. So this is, it was another recommendation. There should be teacher training institutions. And when you build teacher training institutions, or when you establish teacher training institutions, you can just follow the teacher training institutions in London, some modern teacher training institutions. And this is 7. I'm sorry, I forgot to change the number. There should be granting aid schemes for private schools for the spreading and development of education. And see, Macaulay had recommended that granting aid for indigenous educational systems should be stopped. And it created some frustration, some disagreement, some disappointment among the people who were organizing some private educational institutions, some indigenous educational institutions. And here, Charles Wood recommended that it should be restarted. Because you cannot establish more schools, because this is the beginning stage of education. So there are educational institutions run by some people, private people. So we have to provide financial aid. Then special arrangement should be there for education for the women folk, education for the women. And again, something new in India. Because though we tell that there was education for women during the ancient period too, it was not just like the modern education, because we are giving education to, in modern times, education is provided to boys and girls together. And again, it was also something new to the Indian educational system. So it is known as Magna Carta of Indian education, as Vrinda and Remis told, because of two factors. The report was passed by the parliament and gained a legal status. It was the first factor. And the second factor, the recommendations of the report were influential enough to create revolutionary changes in the whole Indian educational scenario. As Vrinda told, I may use the term that Vrinda used because it is the right term. It was a game changer. That means it was a turning point. It was a game changer in the field of education in India. This is something about Charles Wood's Despatch. Got it? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I just stopped this meeting here, and I may be explaining these items again in your mother tongue, right? Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Stand
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
sir.